r/ask Reddit. What's your best story that's 100% real but no one believes you? Story 1. How I ended up with my dog. I was on my way to the bus when I saw this dog calmly walking about. He approached me, I petted him a bit, and went on my way. For some reason he kept on following me. There were other people around us, but he kept on walking behind me. The bus station is by a busy street. I hoped to shake him off by the time I got there, but no. I wasn't sure what would happen if I got on the bus. Would he run after it? Would he hop on the bus? The stop I intended to hop off on is another heavily trafficked place. Neither of the options looked good, so I did the only thing I could think of. I headed home. On the way I called my dad and told him a dog was following me. He laughed, thinking it was my way of trying to skip school. He went along with it though, promising to drive us to the nearby dog shelter. Imagine his surprise when I come home with a dog. So, we drive to the dog shelter, where we have to turn him in. A week or so later we get a call saying that no one had claimed the dog or reported him missing. My dad wanted a dog, different breed though, but seeing as this fellow had followed me around he figured, welp, this is the dog. And that, kids, is how I met my dog. This is him. He then shows this cute photo. Isn't he cute, guys? Story 2. Panama City Beach spring break. I was underage, so I was using friend from London, England's ID to get into bars. Yes, I was using an accent and it was good. Anyway, he was there playing this pathetic little show with about 13 people there, and I happened to talk to him at the bar. He then proceeded to ask me if I wanted wings, and we, White, myself and my other friend, shares a large order of poorly made bar wings. My friend was also underage but accidentally dropped his real ID on the floor, so we both got the boot. He was escorted out by a sizable bouncer, and Lil White's lil man was attempting to yank me out of the bar. I left in a laughing fit under my own power. Story 3. In 1989, when I was 13, my dad and I and my friend Tony and his dad were at a Baltimore Orioles game at Old Memorial Stadium. They were playing the Yankees. We were sitting in the upper deck along the right field line near the foul pole. I'm not sure which inning it was, but Don Mattingly was up to bat. My dad leaned over and told me and my friend Tony that on the next pitch, Don Mattingly would hit the ball right into my dad's lap. Everyone seated around us heard him say that, and some laughed at him. Sure enough, on the very next pitch, Don Mattingly hits a foul ball right at us. Everyone around us is standing up reaching for the ball. My dad doesn't move an inch. He just sits there with his hands in his lap, and the ball drops right into his hands. No FNG joke. Everyone around us just stands there and looks at him with their mouths hanging open. It was unbelievable. Then my little brother took the ball to his friend's house for a sleepover and left it there. We never saw the ball again. Story 4. Last Christmas Eve I got a phone call from somebody who I don't know. I described his voice to all the people present, none of them recognized him. Stoic, sounded a bit like a smoker, American, we're all British, and oddly calm for what he was telling me. Get the fuck out, he says. Before I can talk he says, get out, now. It's dark outside but I look out the back door, I don't see or hear anybody. Red and white spots, he asks. The dress I was wearing was red with white spots. He says it again, get the fuck out, now. He can see me but I can't see him, so I'm in no position to argue and oblige. I get the few friends and family present outside, and we wait. We're all standing on the curb, looking around, and boom. There's a loud rumbling noise followed by a loud and sudden bang. There's smoke pouring out of the open front door, and it's soon followed by fire. The entire kitchen, living room and hallway, 2 out of 3 bedrooms and landing all go up in smoke. The firemen arrive, and it's dealt with. It's put down to a faulty appliance in the kitchen, and we're all okay. Some of that stuff is pretty damn old, so it's likely. If he hadn't have phoned, my family and friends would have most likely been trapped in the living room. There's only one route to the front door, the hallway, and I would have been standing right in front of whatever exploded. I had totally forgotten about him for a few days. I eventually try to ring him back to thank him, but it just says, the number you have dialed has not been recognized, or something along those lines. April 17th, I hear from him again. I'm sitting in a cafe having lunch. He sounds a bit tired and groggy, but it's definitely the same guy. All he says is, wait. So I do. I start to thank him for before, and he tells me to shut up. I wait a few seconds, I don't hear anything. I wait a minute or so, all I've heard is a dog barking, but that's it. It cuts off and he doesn't ring back. I was done eating anyway, so I pack up and leave to go to where I was heading. I hear a loud crash and screaming. I walk a bit further and a van had crashed into a pet shop right in front of me. The driver hobbles out, the pet shop owner is pissed, and nobody was hurt apart from the driver who hit his head. I'm pretty sure that if he hadn't have phoned and kept me there, I would have been hit by that van. Being 4 feet 9 inches and frail, that would not have gone down well. TLDR mystery guy called and, most likely, saved my life twice. Story 5. I met Slash, and the rest of Velvet Revolver, at a McDonald's in the middle of nowhere. They had 2 all-black tour buses. He was a pretty cool guy, but I had nothing for him to sign so I didn't ask. I suppose I could have had him sign a bootleg copy of one of his CDs, but it didn't seem right to do so. Story 6. As another story, I once got randomly stopped by the police while I was high as fuck with 2 rolled J's in my pockets. They of course asked me to empty my pockets because they were suspecting me of being on drugs, duh. While I got my iPod, my cell phone, my keys, and my wallet out, I was able to stick the joints up my sleeves. The policeman then of course wanted me to turn my pockets inside out while I believe the other one was checking my background info over radio. He took my wallet, so I don't know for sure. After a brief moment of silence, his partner came back and told him that I didn't have any police records. Then once again after a brief moment of silence he looked at me and I was 100% sure that he would tell me to get into the car, but in the end handed me my personal stuff and sent me off. On the outside I stayed calm like an ice cube in that situation, but I honestly almost pissed my pants in that situation. Maybe I really did it a little bit. I was in fact so nervous that I accidentally crushed the 2 J's in my right hand while I got my stuff back. Story 7. Kinda late to the party, but I still love this story. I was driving with my mom and we were in our brand new car, Honda Civic if I remember correctly, and we're on our way home from the mall. It's a pretty big city, but there is a street we take that doesn't have many stoplights. We got lucky and hit all the green lights, also. We kind of noticed that there was a police helicopter that was flying like it was following us. We finally get to our first red light and immediately 10 to 15 cop cars encircle us. We have no idea what the fuck is going on and my mom is crying and scared shitless. All the cops have their guns pulled on us and we are just sitting there in the car. One cop comes up to us and opens my door. He looks at my face, a face that resembled that of a chihuahua that just got fucked by an eagle, and I immediately see the change of look on his face. It was like a light bulb went on inside and he instantly looked extremely embarrassed and he turns around and says to the 15 other cop cars, "Fuck guys, we got the wrong car." And every single cop car leaves like nothing happened and my mom and I are standing there wondering what the fuck just happened. TLDR, 15 cop cars and a helicopter chased the wrong car, which happened to be my mom and me. Story 8. When I was little, 8 to 10, I took a trip to the local Circle K with my grandpa. While I was waiting for him to get gas and pay, I wandered around the parking lot. Being a curious boy, I happened to peek into the back of a truck with a very large dog kennel. I wanted to know what kind of dog would occupy such a kennel. So I stepped onto the wheel hub and leaned into the bed of the truck. I was shocked and surprised to find not a dog, but a lion, an honest-to-goodness lion. I ran to my grandpa and told him. When we got home I told my grandma. Both of them humored me for a few weeks and dismissed my childhood storytelling, until they read the story of the John Pinder murders in the local newspaper. We lived only 45 miles from where the murders happened. Turns out the guy was crazy, had a pet lion, kidnapped some of his ranch hands and blew their bodies up. I have heard many rumors he tried to feed people meat to the lion. Story 9. A military helicopter hovered over top of our house for several minutes, 10 plus definitely, maybe closer to 15. I remember thinking that if I stood 3 of myself on my shoulders that I could reach them, so they were only about 6 yards above the house. The side door of the helicopter was open and one of the passengers was sitting on the side of the helicopter with his legs hanging out, and for several minutes we just stood there and stared at each other as I stood on the porch. I just don't understand what they were doing. I live in a suburban community in Michigan with no nearby military anything. Our house is in a subdivision with really close houses nearby, so there was basically no place for them to land if they were planning on it. It's weird that no neighbor ever brought it up either. Story 10. Back a few years ago, I was away racing at an event. I had done okay on the first day, but not great. I think I was around 10th or so. I went to bed that night very nervous and not happy. I laid in bed, thinking about the day, and all of a sudden I see the apparition of my deceased hero, and he held up 3 fingers and said third. I wasn't scared but I was anxious. Then he said, "Your friend will crash, but he will be okay." Anyway, race day, final race, is against my friend, for third overall. I win the race and a track marshal says my friend has rolled. I sprint down the track and find him, then view the video. He lost control, dug in and rolled end for end about 4 times, but got out and walked away. Story 11. About a year ago I was driving home. It was pretty dark out and I noticed something flying above me. It was closer than plane level but weirdly shaped. I could hardly see the thing, but there were 4 prominent lights flashing in the corners. Around a circular disc. I didn't notice it at first as more than just a plane, then pulled over to get a better look, and as soon as I took a second to stare at it, the thing bolted away. I mean took off. I tried to follow it with my car but I only saw it for another block. I don't know what it was but I knew it knew I saw it. Then I immediately called my brother. Do you believe in UFOs? He called me an idiot and hung up. I still have no clue what I saw. Story 12. One night I was on my way to my friend's camp to have a few beers. It was around 11 at night. To get to the camp you have to drive down dark curvy back roads. Well, as I was about to go around a curve I saw a man jogging down the side of the road. Something was strange about him, like he was glowing or illuminated. As I drove by him I looked into his eyes and got the worst chills of all time. I then proceeded to look in my rearview mirror as I passed. But when I looked there was nothing. I then stopped my car, got out and looked for this man but did not see or hear anything. When I got to the camp I told the story to everybody and nobody believed me. When I still see them to this day, they ask me if I've seen a glowing jogger lately. SMH. Story 13. Was in my kitchen, watching my food go round and round in the microwave. I hear a loud farting noise behind me and turn around to tell my dog off. He wasn't there, so I shrug it off and turn back to my food when I hear it again. I swung around just in time to see the honeydew melon on the bench wobbling and warping, and suddenly it splits, and all the liquefied insides that smelt like alcohol swoosh onto the floor. My mother walks in to find me in hysterics and the floor covered in liquid melon. Story 14. We were on holidays in some EU country. It was long time ago, I don't remember what country it was, and something stopped working in our car. Dad drove off the highway ASAP and as we arrived to some village, car stopped. My dad said, "Well, that's it, we won't go any further." Everywhere under the mask there was steam. Man who lived in a house we stopped in front of walked out to see what's happening. My dad asked if there is a mechanic anywhere near cause there was no town near, and the man calmly said, "You're lucky, I'm the mechanic." And it was totally mind-blowing. TLDR, the only mechanic in the middle of nowhere, and car broke in front of his car. Story 15. My whole life from 14 until now. I moved in with Dad and his partner. Her junkie kids would bully me with weapons, knives, shotgun, razors, cut my hair, spike food with speed LSD weed, force me to smoke 1-ounce joints and drink brandy. Step-brother crashed stolen car into post office. I watered their pot plants while they were in prison. Left school and rode a boat to orchards up the river to work. 15 to 16 ran away, trailer park trash for 6 to 9 months, drinking a 750 milliliters of Jim Beam most weeks on payday, smoking an ounce of weed every month. Cigarettes were cheap then too. I hunted kangaroos with a professional, sold kangaroo testicle pouches to tourists, sold some weed to local kids, once held an ounce of speed. Next door neighbor watched a girl until 16 years old, started banging her, legal age, tried suicide, then they ran away. Her dad was town mayor. Meanwhile I moved to the back of the local pub, became great at billiards/pool at the local pub, and started to shark people and enter competitions in neighboring towns. Riverboat, touristy thing, stopped in town every 2 weeks. I boned one of staff, got some free trips around the area as a result. Friends and I burgled a sports club for booze and smokes. I was a bad kid trying to get by after life had turned shit. I ended up homeless. Step-brothers were getting me to shoot them up with speed and heroin, would pass out in my room for hours. Hunting, fishing, camping, weed and alcohol, arcade games and swimming, sleeping with cockroaches crawling on my skin, eating very little and not doing so well. One step-brother is now dead, after years in a wheelchair from stroke after drug abuse. He finally OD'd. Other was going mentally ill a lot with drug abuse and in and out of jail. 16 to 18 back to mother's country, I studied deep sea fishing and worked boats, trawlers, longliners, and game fishing, fun stuff. Hated it in general, spent a few years unemployed and depressed in a kind of halfway house/backpacker hostel for dropkicks. Actually depressed, thinking it's time to end it all. Got kicked out and moved to a new place, met a Japanese girl, fell in love. Sex like rabbits, 18 times in 24 hours once. She's psycho. Chases me around with a box cutter / Stanley knife because I blew in her mouth without warning, held it to my throat and I could see her seriously considering to end me. First love, I forgave her. She later stabs me when someone told her I accidentally cock-blocked him as his love interest had fallen for me. I forgave her again. She tried to bash my brains in while I slept. 19 to 21 forgiven again. She pashes another guy on the dance floor of the club at my 20th birthday bash, legal to drink. It's officially over. I stop working for a while, depressed, pissing up every night, identity crisis and start experimenting sexually, not too crazy, learned a lot about myself and started on path of pure sexual deviance. Started working in hospitality. Prostitute girlfriends, dozens of foreign tourists, schoolgirls, bar staff, random women in the street, fiancés, girlfriends of others, virgins, you name it, I was putting my dick in it and loving it. I was also drunk all the time. Partying until the sun came up, going to work, then doing it again. 21st birthday, crazy ex shows up and gets wasted, runs around naked, tries to kill self. I ignored her. It's over for good. 22 to 24 came to a head at late 21, went to Japan for 3 months to detox at the expense of a nice Japanese girl who thought she could change me. Silly girl. Came back, traveled around the country working hospo, trying to change my life for the better but still a drunk and a womanizer. Serious girl for 2 years, smoking hot, great fucking. Moved on and womanizing again like mad. Changed job to public transport. Studied language teaching. So, many, women. 25 to 27 still partying up, still screwing around, running a small tourist business and screwing half my clients, literally. Life is good, I have 100 people looking up to me, I'm in the best shape of my life, I've landed a new job and had a big pay rise, and women want me faster than I can wash and dry my sheets. Found a good one and got serious about 27, way out of my league. 28 to 35 got into IT around the start of this period. Got drunk a lot. Gotta quit someday. Way too much a lot. It's holding me back. Lost the girl, didn't care until later. Went to Thailand, partied mad, and fucked lots of prostitutes. Some wild times were had. Came back, life getting me down. Not so young, not so hot, future job and women prospects not looking so good, made a bad career choice. Got back into smoking pot again after many years off it. Passed over for promotions, job gave me a disability that made it hard to sell myself to employers and wrecked my confidence. Got lucky and met a lovely girl. Best for me that I have met yet, I can't fuck this one up. Gave up pot, started a business, didn't work out. Gave up drinking and smoking. Just past 6 months totally clean. Feeling like I need to make something of myself, out of IT, something easy and well paid. Learn some skills, going to start another business soon. Remember to like and subscribe to see more videos like this. Story 16. I once got drunk with Flava Flava. I spent a weekend in Vegas for a boxing match 4 years ago, and ended up hanging in a club mixed up with the entourage of a well-known boxer. I do sports information. After a few minutes, Flav walked in, to our area. As the night rolled on and the crowd thinned, it ended up being me, him, and 2 or 3 others. Flav started buying bottles and we drank until around 7 in the morning. Story 17. I am an atheist. I don't believe in angels or ghosts or any supernatural shit. Palm readings, tarot cards, anything, nope. I was finishing up uni, so it was about 2010 and my car's power steering pressure hose busted, so I had to hitch a ride to work from a friend. The night before I was stressed cause my car was down. I had a dream that night of my grandma. She had been sick for a while and looked like she did when I was a kid. In the same pink pajamas she used to wear. She was standing there in a big field of nothing and I said hi to her. She said hi back and explained to me that she was leaving and I shouldn't feel bad I didn't get to come down to visit her because she knew my car was down. I said okay and that I was going to miss her and she said the same. I woke up and remembered everything. I don't usually dream, or at least I don't remember dreams. On the way to work that morning I get a call from my dad. My grandma had died in her sleep overnight. I don't know why, but the first words out of my mouth were, I know. He was shocked and asked if my aunts had called or my sister, and I had to tell him the story. He had just lost his mom, so he was a little upset, like if I was messing around or lying. Everybody thinks I'm making it up, but it's true. I'm not saying she came to me in my dream, but something I can't explain happened that night. Could very well be that I just called it in my sleep, but it felt so real that it pisses me off. I don't believe in any of that shit, but then it happens to you and it gets you thinking. TLDR, I dreamt that my grandma came to me in a dream and said bye to me the night she died. Story 18. It was my second year living in Los Angeles. My friends had known me for a long time as a big fan of Conan O'Brien, and I would not shut the fuck up about how excited I was that he was coming to LA. His show would be taping just a couple blocks from my apartment at the time, and I was way more excited about it than most of the people I knew. One morning, I was riding my bike to the gym and Conan was just sitting there, outside of the Good Neighbor restaurant. This was weeks before his Tonight Show premiere, and he was already taping segments around the neighborhood. I stopped and had a solid 5-minute conversation with him, while he waited for his producers to handle something inside. We talked about his move, the new show, and how shitty the LA subway systems were. I wished him luck on his show, and he wished me luck on my budding career in the industry. Because I was on my way to the gym to swim laps, I didn't have any electronics on me. No phone, no point and shoot camera. This meant I didn't get a chance to take a picture with Conan to mark the occasion. When I went home and told people about it, nobody bothered to believe me at all. It really didn't help that the date was April 1st. Story 19. Calamitously gringo me and my Mexican amigo walking through a sketchy Mexico City barrio at 3 a.m., and we get surrounded by 4 guys who demand our wallets, phones, etc. My friend hands his over, but I notice the gun in the coat pocket of one dude looks a lot like a finger. So casually I ask the mugger to show me his weapon. He looks over at his friends, then they all make a run for it. Letting the tequila think for me, I run after them. They jump into a car waiting down the block, but can't drive off fast enough before I jump in too and start flailing around until they all jump out. I hop into the driver's seat. I was literally prepared to steal their car, but they took the keys out, clever finger muggers. So I just start tearing apart the interior as they yell at me. They hand my friend's wallet and phone back to me and try to coax me out of the car, but I refuse and keep kicking at anyone who comes near. Eventually the cops show up and tell me to get out. And as soon as I do they all jump in and hightail it, while the cops just stand there. They want to arrest me but I somehow pull off some diplomat's son story and they let me go. They even drive me around the block to look for my friend, who ran to get help. Stupidest, most epic thing I've ever done. And that, my friends, is how I thwarted 4 would-be muggers, attempted grand theft auto, and talked my way out of being arrested in a foreign country. Story 20. Stopped the US president's plane from landing. My class was going to see George Bush Jr. at a small airport in Cleveland, and unfortunately were too late to actually get into the hangar. The Secret Service said that there was no more available room. Picture a crowd of 40 disgruntled high schoolers, and guess what happens next? Yep, we fucking walked across the runway by ourselves without any supervision. All of a sudden this black helicopter is in front of us angling its blades down facing us. Secret Service/security is surrounding our group, and there's definitely some weapons on hand. We even had people videotaping the whole scenario. But strangely enough, after the clusterfuck, we were informed that we were allowed to go see the president.